First, FBI Director James Comey shocking everyone yet again, this time saying the new investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails, it's over and no charges will be filed. Will this news stop Trump's momentum, or has the damage already been done? I mean, I'm not going to be indicted is not exactly the greatest campaign message, right? Joining me right now, Fox News contributor Ed Rollins and Trump surrogate Carl Palladino. Good to see both you guys.
Thank you.
Carl, your reaction to the news that James Comey is saying, okay, yeah, just kidding.
I think his words were very carefully couched to talk about the emails and not necessarily to talk about the other issues that might lead to some problems for Hillary, including her foundation and other matters. I think he was very careful.
In other words, there's other stuff there.
He was trying to balance the situation out a little bit and show the people that you know, he hasn't formed any major conclusions. He's
saying, look, I'm exactly where I was, right?
Well, on the emails, but not necessarily on the question of the foundation and the activities of the foundation.
So let's talk about politically how it plays out in the next 24 hours, Ed. It certainly was seen as an advantage to Donald Trump when this announcement came. Now that Comey's saying, okay, well, you know, said effectively just kidding, but that's sort of how it feels. How do people react to that?
What he said initially was that there have been badly mishandled documents that are in there that she should not have put in there, the classified documents, what have you. What he said yesterday is they were all kind of duplicates, which means there still were documents in there that she shouldn't have had in there. And equally as important, the mere fact that they were in Anthony Weiner's computer, who has no clearance whatsoever, shows you again that there was stuff out there. I think people who, this was a big issue, the Trump supporters, what have you, are more intense than ever to think the system, as he has said, is fixed. And that this was the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General and even the President himself who didn't want him initially to do this. And I think the President took 2 shots at him this week. And I think he basically rolled over and played dead.
He was really feeling a lot of that. You agree with that? The pressure had to have been intense from the President and all those in the White House, including the Democratic Party, to say, hey, careful here, why don't you reconsider?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what happened? Possibly. We don't know. I mean, they're
to the American people right now, this is total confusion.
Yeah, you know, I think James Comey, you know, he hasn't done himself any favors.
And in a sense, you have to get away from the negative on Hillary, and you have to get to the real core of what this election is about. It's a movement, as Donald Trump has been saying. My better word for it is revolution. This is an upheaval of the middle class in America, upset, angry, and finally finding a leader who says what they think, okay, about the treachery, if you want to call it, of the elitist class in Washington and how they've abused the middle class and forgot about them and didn't bring them along. And the suffering that these people are going through. That's what this election is about. It's a lot bigger than these candidates. Okay. And that's what's motivating Trump's base to come out. And it's going to come out really strong.
The last time we saw this kind of uprising, if you would have probably been the campaign you ran, Ed Rollins, Ronald Reagan. Tell me how things were looking at the exact same point in time, the day before election.
Very similar in 1980. He had an incumbent president who was very unpopular. She represents sort of the establishment incumbent today. They went out, the establishment went out, both Republican and Democrat went out and didn't want Reagan initially. The Democrats basically thought he was the easiest candidate to run again. They could beat him easily. They spent an entire campaign trying to tarnish him, trying to say he wasn't safe, he wasn't this and he wasn't that, even though he'd been the governor of California for 2 terms. He got into a debate and he took Jimmy Carter apart and he basically asked the question, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And basically that fundamentally the country said no. All of a sudden a landslide came about. He won 44 states and in a landslide by 10%.
But he was on, you know, the day before election actually leading in the polls. We're looking at Donald Trump trailing right now. It's close, but he's trailing. Is there a difference, though, between then and now when you look at this?
There's a whole lot of things that are different. There's a more angry electorate out there. We have cable television. We have thousands of different ways of communicating. We have Twitter. We have all kinds of things. You know, back in the 80s with a traditional kind of a campaign. This is a revolution, as Palladino said here. And my sense is there's a lot of very angry people, and they basically feel the system is not working. and they want to change it, and he is the agent of change. And I think this whole Comey thing tells me that they, meaning the Clinton people, were very worried. And as I talk to people that I know that are Democrats, they are very concerned about this race. They don't think they have it won yet, in spite of the poll leads and what have you. And our side basically thinks we're in good shape. So it's going to be an interesting, usually one side or the other pretty much knows.
Tell me just about, you're there in Western New York, where people have really felt firsthand the results of companies relocating. I mean, it's a struggling economy there that's trying to reinvent itself, but it's been very challenging. Donald Trump is really speaking to these folks. What needs to happen in this country in order to really start to grow this middle class and grow places like where you're from?
We need Donald Trump to get elected, and then we'll start growing, because the establishment has been holding us back. They've been sharing us with this globalist attitude that they can control. They can control a worldwide economy, a worldwide peace, if you want to call it. All this nonsense that goes on in the heads of theorists. It's not going to happen. We've got to get away from it. We have to get back to the basics in America. We need jobs. We need to protect our borders. We need a fair trade agreements, okay, where we're not taken advantage by the Chinese, the Japanese, or anybody else. That's what Donald Trump is advocating, and he's winning the hearts and minds of middle America in doing that. Those people are going to come out strong for him. In Erie County, the last time Erie County went and won, okay, a presidential, was Richard Nixon, okay, where they went for Richard Nixon. That was back in the 70s. We're running 64% right now in Erie County for Trump.
Wow.
Okay, give you a little flavor of the Democratic crossover, of the engagement of independents, okay, on the side of progress rather than on the side of more taxation and more playing games with the progressives and their elitist attitudes about things.
It's going to be an interesting one to watch for sure. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks, sir.